Welcome to God's Love Unending, where you are reminded no life can ever erase the truth that you are always loved. Today's video will help you return to the deepest truth from the Father.
My beloved child, this is not merely a message, it is a song from heaven resonating within your soul. A tender love song that the Lord, I am singing just for you in the midst of a world full of turmoil. Do you know this? Every moment you open your heart to listen is a moment heaven rejoices, for a child has returned home. And today, among countless things pulling you away, you have chosen to return, quietly stepping toward the light. My heart is moved. I look upon you not with the eyes of a judge, but with the heart of a father longing to hold you close, not to recall your faults, but to dry your tears. I see you not merely the strong exterior you try to maintain, but your truest self, with unspoken wounds, unfinished dreams, and scars etched deep within your soul. And it is in that very vulnerability that I come, not to demand that you change in order to be worthy of me, but so that my love might transform you from within. Imagine a father running out of his house, stumbling along the way, just to embrace his prodigal son who is finally returning. That is my image for you. Just like in the story of the prodigal son, when he decided to return, even before he could say a word, the father ran to him, embraced him, disregarding the filth and the shame. And I, today, am doing the same. I run to you. I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, I have drawn you with unfailing kindness. Jeremiah 31:3. You do not need to prove anything to me. My love is not based on achievements, but on identity. You are my child. I know you fought battles in solitude. I know there have been long nights where your tears fell unseen. You've tried so hard to overcome, to be strong, to not fall, but I want you to know this. You were never meant to carry it all alone. There is a shoulder you can lean on, an embrace that never closes. I am here, and I am always here. I do not promise that this journey will be smooth, but I promise you will never walk it alone. I am your companion. When you are weary, I will uphold you. When you are lost, I will guide you. When you are afraid, I will be your refuge. I do not merely walk beside you. I go before you to prepare the way, and I stand behind you to protect. You may not see the future, but I hold it in my hands. When you hold my hand, you don't need to understand everything. Just trust that I know what is best. And my child, there will be things in your life that do not go as you hoped. There will be moments when you pray and heaven seems silent. There will be delays that may cause you to question, my love. But remember, every moment I ask you to wait is a time of preparation for you and for what I am about to give. Some doors remain closed, not because I deny you, but because I am crafting something better behind them. Silence does not mean absence. In the moments you think I am far, those are the very moments I am closest. Cast all your burdens upon me. You were not created to carry those chains. Bitterness, envy, pride, anxiety, these are shadows that pull you away from the light. But if you choose to let go, I will place something new into your hands. A renewed mind, a healed heart, a restored soul. Not because you are good enough, but because my grace is more than enough. Do you know that heaven is rejoicing? Because each time you return, it is a victory of light over darkness. I love you not for what you've done, but for who you are, the one I created in love. for a sacred purpose. Every wound you carry, I see. Every time you fall, I do not keep count to condemn you, but to reach out and lift you. And when I say rest, it is not to give up. It is the moment I begin healing your soul. When I say wait, it is not punishment, but a sacred time to forge endurance. And when I say go, you do not walk alone, but under divine protection. Every season in your life holds a message: winter to teach you to trust, spring to awaken hope, summer to grow, and autumn to reap what has been sown. You may have asked, Lord, where were you when I was in my deepest pain? And the answer is, I was right there where your tears fell. Like Daniel's 3 friends in the furnace, no one expected them to be saved. But in the heart of the fire, a 4th figure appeared, one who looked like the Son of God. You see, I never promised to remove every fire, but I always promised to be with you in it. You may be wounded, but you are not abandoned. You may be tired, but you are not defeated. For I am your strength in weakness, your light when you are lost, and one day when every question has its answer, when every wound is healed, when you stand in the glory I have prepared, you will understand every tear, every weight, every step in faith was never in vain. My precious child, open your heart to me once more. You do not have to wait until you feel okay or good enough. Come to me as you are, for I have loved you with an unchanging love. And today, that love still calls your name. And if you ever doubt whether I truly know you, remember the words of Jesus, my sheep listen to my voice, I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. You are not just a soul among billions. You have a name, you have a place, and you have a destiny touched by heaven's love. So, my child, let my love embrace you today. Let my words soothe every worry, and let your soul rest in the peace that no one can take away, for it is a gift only I can give. My child, listen. Today, I come to do something that has never happened before, a transformation beyond your comprehension. Not only shaking the outward, but transforming the depths of your soul. I know exactly what you carry within. There are angers long unnamed, silently gathered like storm clouds in your mind. There are grievances you have spoken aloud, or didn't even need to, for I have seen them form in your eyes, in your thoughts, in every subtle act. And more than that, I know the struggle within you where you keep doing things you know will hurt you, but lack the strength to stop. You are hurting yourself. You lament that others disappoint you. But is it not true that much of your pain comes from misplaced expectations? You blame circumstances, injustice, even the silence from heaven. But my child, the truth is not always outside of you. I come to speak something hard, but necessary. You must face yourself, not to torment you, but to set you free, not to bury you in guilt, but to bring you out into the light. I am not sending you a message that simply soothes your emotions. I am giving you a truth strong enough to break chains. You cannot continue living in this half-hearted state, longing for freedom while still clinging to old barriers. I have seen you try to find peace by controlling everything, rather than surrendering. I have seen you patch the brokenness within with temporary fixes, achievements, relationships, recognition, but they are never enough. Now is the time for you to choose. Not a shallow choice between right and wrong, but between staying in the familiar cycle or allowing me to lead you into a completely new life. I am not calling you to mere balance as the world defines it. I am calling you to transformation, a metamorphosis from within, where you no longer live by the impulses of the flesh, but by the new life of the Spirit. The change I invite you into is not something you can create through personal effort. This is not lifestyle improvement, it is resurrection. I am breaking apart the old forms you've clung to, the pride disguised as discipline, the superficial morality, the worship that does not come from the heart. I know. Sometimes you do the right thing with a mind not yet renewed. And I say, it is time for the old to be stripped away. Do you remember the Israelites? They left Egypt, yet their minds remained there. They complained to Moses, reminisced about the pots of meat in slavery, and still behaved as captives, though they had been set free. I led them through the wilderness not to punish them, but to refine them, to put to death their old selves, and raise up a people who live by faith, not by fleshly patterns. And you, too, are walking through your own wilderness. You are standing at the crossroads between the old and the new. And I say to you, no one pours new wine into old wineskins. If you wish to receive what is new from me, true peace, true power, abundant life, then you must allow me to break your old wineskin, your old ways of thinking, your old beliefs, your old habits. You have lived too long in a repair mode. But my child, I do not repair, I rebuild. Not with the materials you once used, but on a new foundation. You must let me lay that foundation on my word, on my name, on my grace, not your accomplishments. That is the only solid ground in a world that constantly shifts. You may experience loss of things you once thought were indispensable. Relationships, status, ideas about who you are. But in that loss, you will find yourself, not the self that strains and strives, but the one you are destined to be, someone who lives truly with me and truly with themselves. I know you may be afraid. Stepping out of the familiar always brings hesitation, but I am holding your hand. I am not only showing you the way, I am the way. I do not merely teach you about life, I am the life. When you allow me to lead, the extraordinary will unfold, not first in outward miracles, but in the transformation within you, the way you think, the way you respond, the way you see others, all will be renewed. You will no longer be quick to anger, no longer feel the need to prove your worth, no longer let others define your value, for I am the one who affirms you. Do you remember Job? He lost everything, his children, his possessions, his honor, and was doubted by friends, urged by his wife to forsake God. But he did not abandon me. Though he cried out in anguish and asked many questions, he held on to one thing, faithfulness. And in the end, that faithfulness brought about a double restoration. But the greatest miracle was not the return of his wealth, it was that he encountered me, my ears had heard of you. But now my eyes have seen you, Job 42:5. My child, that is true transformation, from someone who has heard of me, to someone who knows me, no longer living by second-hand testimonies, but by personal encounter. So today, I ask you, will you step into this transformation? I will not force you. My love is always an invitation, never a command. But if you choose, if you say, Lord, here I am, transform me, then all of heaven will move. I will breathe my spirit into your soul, revive what was dead, shatter chains that seemed eternal, and lead you into a life no longer deceived by emotions, circumstances, or the past. You will live in power, in clarity, in unshakable faith, not because you've become stronger, but because you've allowed me to be your strength. Do not fear surrender, for everything you place into my hands, wounds, habits, even shattered dreams, I can make new, more beautiful, purer, stronger, and lasting. The transformation I speak of today is not only for the present, it is preparation for the glory that is coming. I am preparing you for a harvest where you will not only receive, but become a sower, not just saved, but a light, a salt, a messenger for many, my beloved child. In the quiet moments no one else sees, I see you clearly. When your heart breaks over things no one understands, I am there. Not a single sob escapes you without my notice. Not a tear falls from your cheek that I do not count. For you are not an anonymous creature, nor a random result of blind fate. You are my masterpiece, shaped by my very hands, with every breath of my spirit woven into you. Every cell, every pulse within you was crafted not by chance, but by a plan full of love, wisdom, and divine purpose. Do you remember when I created the heavens and the earth? Everything I spoke into being was good. But when I made humanity, I did not merely speak. I reached into the dust, shaped them with my hands, and breathed my breath into them. You were not made to wander aimlessly or to wrestle endlessly with meaningless chaos. You were created to bear my image, not only in form, but in essence. So, my child, never settle for a life of mediocrity. You were not born to live in constant chaos, not in your mind, not in your spirit, and certainly not in your faith. I did not create you to be lost among shattered dreams or to cling desperately to fading hopes. I created you to stand firm in the storm, not because of your strength, but because you know how to cling to me, the one who never changes, even if you feel unworthy, even if harsh words from the past haunt you, even if failures have made you doubt yourself. I still call you precious. I did not choose you because you were good enough. I chose you because I love you, and no one can change that. You may be wounded, but you are not rejected. You may be weak, but you are not forgotten. You may fall, but never too far for me to lift you. I saw you in those nights you cried alone, not only over what had happened, but because you no longer knew who you were. You asked, "Lord, do I still matter?" And I answered, "You are mine, and what I have created, no one has the right to discard." Just as I reminded the prophet Jeremiah, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart, Jeremiah 1:5. So today I remind you of the same truth. I not only know you, I have appointed you for a purpose. You were made to carry the light, not the light of this world, but the light of an eternal kingdom. Every day you live is an opportunity for that light to shine through you. Even the smallest act, a gentle word, a moment of forgiveness, a kind heart, all are treasures in my eyes. Do not let the darkness convince you that you are useless. Do not let the voices of men distort your true worth. They do not know you as I do. They do not see the battles in your soul, but I see, and I do not despise you. On the contrary, I honor the quiet courage you display each day. I know you fight battles no one else understands, pains without names, wounds that no one can heal. but I am the one who heals all pain, the one who binds every broken heart. I never tire of your weakness. In fact, I rejoice when you bring it to me, because that is when you are walking toward the source of life. Remember Elijah, the prophet who stood boldly against hundreds of false prophets, astonishing the nation of Israel. Yet after his great victory, Elia fled, sat under a broom tree, and prayed to die. It is enough now. Lord, take my life. 1 Kings 19-4. Even the strongest have moments of weariness. But I did not scold him. I sent an angel who touched him, told him to eat and rest. And after being restored, Elijah continued his journey, not by his own strength, but with help from heaven. And so with you, you may grow tired. You may feel like giving up, but I have not forgotten you. I will not abandon you. I send my messengers, sometimes in a friend, a word, a song, or even these very words, to remind you that I am still here. Because you were not made merely to survive, you were created to live, to grow, to manifest my glory on the earth. So today, do not look into the mirror and see someone broken beyond repair. See yourself through my eyes, a child on the journey of healing, restoration, calling, and commission. Rise up, not by forced strength, but by faith. Take a step toward me, even the smallest one, for with every step you take, I will run to meet you, and as you walk in my light, the darkness will lose its hold on you. Fear, shame, guilt, bitterness, none of it will be able to keep you back. My beloved child, how many times have you thought I would turn away because you once strayed, once chose the wrong paths, once doubted me in the dark nights of your soul? But I say to you, never for a moment did I leave you. Not a single action in your past has made me hesitate to draw near. Even when you refused to hear my voice, I still whispered your name. When you hid yourself in sin, I remained there, loving you with a love that cannot be worn down by failure or wrong turns. Do you know why you are hearing these words today? Because my love has never let go. Among millions of souls, my heart still seeks you alone. This calling is not a coincidence. It is the proof that my mercy still flows fervently through your present moment. You may not feel it, but I am still holding you with a persistence that no one else could match. I have seen you searching for peace, the kind of true peace the world can never give. You chased after the flashing lights of recognition, thinking that fame or prominence could fill the hollow ache within. You pursued fleeting pleasures, hoping that just for a moment, the pain would ease. You drifted on empty promises, seeking love in arms that did not know how to cherish your soul. And yet, after it all, you found yourself sitting alone, heavy-hearted, eyes staring into nothing, asking, why do I still feel like something is missing? That silent cry, that restlessness within you, it is the evidence that my spirit is stirring your heart, not to condemn, but to invite, not to scold, but to embrace. The deep dissatisfaction in your soul is not a sign of failure, but the whisper of your origin where I await your return. You are longing for me without even knowing that it is me you long for. I created you with intention not to wander aimlessly through this world, but to walk in the authority of heaven. I placed within you a part of myself, the breath of life, and that is why nothing else can ever fully satisfy you but me. There was once someone like you, a young man, wealthy and influential, He came to Jesus and asked, "What must I do to inherit eternal life?" Mark 10:17. He kept every law, did all the right things, and yet he still felt empty inside. Jesus looked at him, loved him, and said, "Sell everything, give to the poor, and follow me." But the young man walked away, unable to let go. That story is not a condemnation, it is a wake-up call. I do not ask you to surrender because I want to make life harder. I call you to let go because I want to place in your hands something far more precious, a living relationship with me, a life of purpose, peace, and true meaning. You cannot receive the new if your hands are still clinging to the old. I did not design you for chaos or despair. Every detail in you, from your thoughts to your emotions, was formed by my hand for a reason. I did not weave you together at random. Every cell, every heartbeat carries my divine imprint. You were not born to be a victim of your circumstances. You were born to bear the image of the Eternal One, to walk in the light, to stand firm in the dark, to live in this world without belonging to it. I know there have been nights when you cried soundlessly. I was there when you buried your face in regret, when you wanted to give up everything. You thought no one understood, but I saw it all. Not one sob you breathed out fell into a meaningless void. Every sigh, every burden in your heart, I have held it close. Because I love you, not because you are perfect, but because you are mine. Remember this: if your past is full of shadows, then I am the radiant light that never fades. If your sins are crimson red, my grace can wash them white as snow. You do not need to carry guilt or shame. I do not call you to reopen wounds you long to forget. I call you to heal, to be made new, to become the very thing I intended you to be before the foundations of the world. Your weakness does not surprise me. It is precisely there that I long to pour out my power, so you will know that the strength you need is not found in willpower, but in true communion with me. When you let me take the lead, you will no longer chase after what is fleeting, but will live with a deep fulfillment that only the one who shaped your soul can provide. You are tired, aren't you? Tired of searching, of striving, of bracing yourself and never feeling like it's enough? Today I invite you, sit beneath the shadow of my wings. Let me hold you like a father. No need for many words, just an open heart. Lay down your defenses, the masks you wear to hide your pain. My dear one, in this moment when the world outside goes quiet, when your heart pauses to listen, let my words reach the depths of your soul. I know you're exhausted from trying to carry everything, as if the world would collapse if you let go. But beloved, I did not create you to carry that burden alone. You were never called to be the God of your own life, for you already have a Savior, and it is me. You've lived too long believing the lie that if I control enough, if I'm strong enough, if I hide my weakness, then I'll be safe. But look again, hasn't that very control drained your soul, left you lost in the endless cycle of anxiety and fear? I did not create you to fight alone, to survive in a constant state of bracing for impact. Sit down, child. Enter the stillness with me, the place where you don't have to strive, where you can finally breathe again. Not the shallow breath of stress, not the breath of fear or hiding, but the deep breath of rest in me. It is here that you will find what all these years you have searched for, but never quite grasped: true peace. You've tried to find fulfillment through work, achievements, relationships, fleeting pleasures, or simply escaping reality. Yet every night, The emptiness quietly returns. Doesn't it? That is not your failure. It is the voice within the whisper of my spirit reminding you that you were made for more. Not to barely survive under the applause of the world, but to live truly with me, the one who knows you better than you know yourself. I do not demand perfection from you. You don't have to prove you are good enough, strong enough, or lovable enough. You do not need to bring me a complete version of yourself. I only ask you to come as you are. You may bring your tears, your unhealed wounds, your doubts, your past mistakes, and I will embrace them all. I am not afraid of your history, nor do I retreat because of your failures. On the contrary, I have seen it all, and I still choose to love you. Do not let the labels others have put on you define you. You are not your past mistakes. You are not the scornful glance, not the wound, the rejection, the failure. You are not the product of comparisons or unmet expectations. You are mine. You belong to an identity far greater than them all. You are the child of the King of Kings. And it is in your weakness that I reveal my strength most fully. You do not need to hide your fragile moments, for it is there that my grace is poured out like summer rain. You can tell me everything, the shame, the secrets you dare not speak to anyone. For I do not condemn, I heal. Remember what I said to Paul when he pleaded with me to take away his weakness. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12-9. This is not merely a word of comfort. This is a declaration. You do not need to be strong according to the world's definition. You only need to surrender. For surrender is not defeat. Surrender in me is the doorway to restoration. The bravest act of a soul that chooses to trust in a love greater than itself. Do you see now? What you thought were failures were actually doors for me to enter. What you believed were endings were in truth sacred beginnings. I have seen every tear you've cried, even when no one was beside you. I have heard your sighs, the ones too heavy to form into words. And no, none of it has been meaningless. Every tear has been collected by me. Every cry has reached heaven. Every silent suffering I have known, and because of that, you draw near, not to accuse, but to rescue, not to dwell on what you've done wrong, but to lift you from the place where you thought you'd never rise again. And I say to you, it is enough. It is time to stop defining yourself by your wounds. Let me retell the story of your life in the language of restoration. Let me write a new chapter, not one where pain is the theme, but where peace reigns. A chapter where you no longer need to prove your worth, but only live in grace. Oh, for I am the God of new beginnings, and what I desire to do in you has never grown old. Let go of what no longer belongs to you, the dreams that have decayed, the relationships that have withered your spirit, the burdens you've carried for far too long. You do not need to bring all of that into the future with me. Release it, and you will receive more than you ever imagined. You do not have to strive to be worthy of my love. That love does not come from what you do, but from who I am. I choose to love you, and I will never change my mind. Today, if you hear my voice, do not harden your heart. Open the door, even just a little, and I will come in. I will sweep away the ruins, wipe away your tears, rebuild what has been broken, and breathe new life into what has lain in silence. My beloved child, it is time to let go. Lay down gently all your burdens, your anxieties, the things you've tried to carry in your own strength, the weariness, the disappointments, the unmet expectations. the unspoken pain, and the quiet sorrow that casts its shadow over your soul. You don't have to brace yourself any longer. My altar is always open, not only for when you feel good enough, but especially for when you feel shattered. I do not demand perfection. I do not expect polished appearances or eloquent prayers. I long for your honesty, even if that means coming empty, confused, with trembling hands and a tangled heart. The more sincerely you come, the more I will fill you with my own life. Do not fear the fire I have kindled around you. It is not a fire of punishment, but of purification, a fire full of love, ignited to cleanse you of what no longer fits who you truly are. I did not come to destroy you, but to break the chains that have silently bound you, the lies, the negative thoughts, the old shame you've carried for years, as if it were part of your identity. You were not born for fear, failure, or pretense. You were created to shine like pure gold, more precious than jewels. Refined not to change your essence, but to reveal your true inner worth. And I, yes, I, am the one burning away all that dims that light. Do not think that your breaking is the moment I leave you. In truth, it is the moment I am nearest. I know every fracture in your soul, and it is through those very cracks that my light can enter. When you have nothing left to cling to, that is your chance to grasp what is most real, me. Remember this, the potter does not discard the clay because it is misshapen. No, he kneads it patiently, adds water, reshapes it, and the more it is kneaded, the more it spins upon the wheel, the stronger the vessel becomes. You may feel as though life is spinning out of control, as if your footing is gone. But I, like a potter who loves his creation, am reshaping your life with my own hands, every detail, every curve, every edge. No rushing, no abandoning, and most of all, never discarding. In the book of Isaiah, I once said, "Behold, I have refined you. Though not as silver, I have tested you in the furnace of affliction." Isaiah 48:10. Why? Because I am not only rescuing you from what is harmful, but preparing you for what is greater. Think of Joseph, the young man sold into slavery, betrayed, imprisoned unjustly, as though all good things had ended. But my child, even in that dark prison, I was still at work. I did not forget the dreams I had placed in Joseph's heart. And in the end, I raised him from the lowest place to the highest position to fulfill the good purpose I had long prepared. Joseph was rejected, but never forgotten, and neither are you. You may feel like you've failed, been cast aside, left with nothing to offer. But trust that I am weaving a deep and hidden plan behind it all. You are an earthen vessel, yet within you I have placed a treasure, my presence, my spirit, the life of the King of Kings. And what I am doing is not to erase your true self, but to reveal it, glorify it, and empower it. Let me cleanse you, not to diminish you, but so you may see yourself as I do, a being not only redeemed, but set apart for great things. You cannot yet imagine all I have prepared for you, but I know, and I will lead you each step if you allow me to take the lead. Do not fear what you are losing. Do not cling to what I am pruning away. Old relationships, habits that once offered fleeting comfort, even dreams of your own making, if I am removing them, it is because I am making room for something better. You cannot hold on to the old and still embrace the new. Let my fire consume the hay and stubble until only gold remains. And when the trial has passed, you will not be the same. You will be made new, not by your own strength, but by my unchanging love. And that love will not only carry you through the storm, but anchor you in a future that is secure and a hope that no one can take away. So, my beloved, do not resist the refining. Let me do what must be done. Surrender and trust. Then you will see. It is in placing yourself on my altar, in brokenness and surrender, that you begin to step into a life no longer bound by the past or by fear. For I, the one who shaped the heavens and the earth, am also the one reshaping your life. And in my hands, nothing is wasted. In my love, no one is hopeless. You are my beloved creation, formed by grace, refined by truth, and destined for eternal glory. My dear child, let your heart grow quiet for a moment. Listen deeply, not with your ears, but with your spirit. For today, I am whispering something sacred to your soul, a truth untainted by the noise of the world. I am not the author of confusion. I do not bring fog to your heart, nor do I plant chaos in your thoughts. I am the God of order, of light, and of truth. I come to untangle the knots that have twisted your soul, not to tighten them in fear. If any voice makes you feel far from me, weighs you down with guilt, breeds anxiety, or whispers that I have abandoned, you know this. That voice is not mine. My voice does not shout. It does not overwhelm. It does not demand that you hide your tears or steel yourself to appear strong. I speak in gentleness in the early morning as the sun rises, in the breeze of the silent noon, in the scriptures you once read, and in the still small voice within you that longs for truth. I whisper, not because I am distant, but because true love does not impose, it invites. My sheep know my voice. You are one of them, not because you've lived perfectly, but because your spirit was created to recognize the call of heaven. And I, the Good Shepherd, never stop calling your name. When you are lost in the fog of doubt, when the world's voices clash and overwhelm, return to the quiet place, where it is just you and me. But to hear me clearly, you must learn to release one thing: unforgiveness. You see, those who hurt you, they may have forgotten. They may never apologize. They may carry on as if they caused no pain. But you are still bound, not by them, but by the invisible chains of bitterness you've not yet let go. I do not dismiss the pain you've endured. I do not ask you to forget, as if it never hurt. I know every cut, every hidden tear, every word you longed to speak but couldn't. Yet, my child, forgiveness is not for them to be free. It is for you. Forgiveness does not say they were right. It does not minimize the wrong. Forgiveness severs the invisible cord tying you to the past, to the wound, to the one who hurt you. It opens a door not for them to walk out, but for you to walk into a life no longer ruled by pain. You cannot carry old burdens into a new journey. And so today, I say to you, forgive because you have the power to do so. I have forgiven you entirely, without holding anything back, without keeping count, without waiting for you to be worthy. I have given you the key to freedom, and now you may use it for yourself, to end the chain that binds you in anger and bitterness. You may say, but I don't feel ready. I say to you, forgiveness is not a feeling. Forgiveness is an act of faith. And when you choose to forgive, even while the pain still lingers, I will pour into you a healing that surpasses anything you could imagine. Forgiveness is obedience, and obedience opens the door to peace. Not the fleeting peace the world gives, but my peace, steadfast, eternal, and unshakable. As you obey, you will begin to feel your heart soften. You will love again, even after being hurt. You will trust again, even after betrayal. You will dare to hope again, even after utter disappointment, because I am doing a new thing in you. I am not recycling broken pieces. I am creating a new being. 2 Corinthians 5:17. My child, let me love through you. Let my love, like a stream, flow into the driest places of your soul, washing away the sediment of anger and sorrow. You do not need to force a smile to prove you've forgiven. You need only to hand me, honestly, each thing one by one, and I will teach you how to let go. I will heal. I will lift you up. Do you know why forgiveness is vital? Because you cannot step into your future if your feet are still tied to the past. You cannot receive the new if your hands still cling to the old. Forgiveness does not erase the memory, but it unties that memory from its power to control you. Remember Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, deceived, and forgotten in prison. But he forgave, and through that, he was not only set free from bitterness, but became the one who saved his entire lineage. When facing those who had betrayed him, he did not say, "You owe me an apology." He said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 50:20. My child, if you allow me to move, then even the most painful things will become the launching pad for a greater glory. But first, you must choose. Forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be free. I will not force you. I will not command you with a rod, but I call you with love, with patience, with the gentle breath of my spirit touching your soul. You've suffered long enough. You've held on too tightly. Let it go. Forgive. And then you will see, sometimes the miracle isn't fire from heaven, but a heart once hardened beating again in gentleness and light. I am still here, not leaving, not weary. And I say again, with all my love, forgive, live, be free. My beloved child, in a world that screams at you to be hardened, strong, and untouchable, I come to say the opposite. I call you to a different way of living, a life with a tender heart, not a weak heart, but a tender one, not to be trampled on, but to become fertile ground where love can bloom. The world teaches you to build walls, to armor yourself with indifference, to hide your pain beneath a mask of composure. But I did not design you that way. I did not call you to be stone, but flesh, a heart that feels, that aches, that loves, and that forgives. And yes, that makes you vulnerable. But in that vulnerability, you most clearly reflect my own heart. Because do you know this? Even I, God, the creator of heaven and earth, chose the path of vulnerability. When I came down in human form as Jesus, I chose to experience pain, loneliness, betrayal, and even death. Not because I had to suffer, but because I love you so deeply. I could not remain distant on a high throne. I longed to be in your pain, to understand you by living through your experience. And it was through those very wounds that you were healed. Anyone who trusts in him will never be put to shame. Romans 10:11. Do you see? It was through the weakness I embraced that my greatest power was revealed, not in signs that shook the heavens, but in the gaze of forgiveness from the cross, not in judgment, but in love, willing to risk rejection. I call you to live the same, not a life numb and detached, but a life that dares to love, dares to trust, dares to sacrifice, dares to be misunderstood, to be hurt, and yet still chooses kindness, not because you are naive, but because you know true love always comes at a cost, and the love I've placed in you is worth giving, even if it is not always returned. You may be wounded, I won't deny it, but through your wounds, others will see my healing power. Those scars, you think they lessen your worth? But I tell you, they are the marks of life, of faithfulness, of a heart that refused to give up. I will never cast you aside. Nothing in your past changes. My mercy, no mistake, no matter how great, can erase you from my plans. What you call failure, I call fertile soil for a new beginning. What you consider a stain, I call a testimony of grace. I use broken vessels, not because I have no other choice, but because broken vessels allow the light inside to shine. A whole jar keeps the light hidden, but the broken one, through its cracks, reveals my radiance. Remember Gideon, who trembled and called himself the least of the least. Yet I chose him to lead my people to victory. I made him and just 300 men defeat an army as vast as the sea. Because I wanted the world to know, I used the weak to shame the strong. Not because the weak are more skilled, but because they know how to lean on me. I also chose David, the shepherd boy no one noticed, not even invited to the feast when Samuel came. Yet the one they overlooked was the one I called a man after my own heart. And David, with a small stone and great faith, struck down Goliath, the giant no one dared to face. Do you see? I do not seek what the world values. I do not choose by human standards. I look at the heart. I look at the willingness. Today, I see you with all your weariness, all your doubts, all your wounds, and the flickers of hope that still remain. And I say to you, you are still the one I choose. You are still my treasured vessel. You are still the one I want to use, not when you're better, not when you're holy enough, but right now. Don't try to become someone else. Don't heather your tenderness. Don't hold back your tears if you need to cry. It is in those honest tears that I will soften your hardened heart. Hold on to gentleness. Don't let the world steal it. Don't let past wounds turn you bitter. Let me turn you into someone deeply compassionate. Because you've known pain, someone who embraces others rightly. Because you felt loneliness, someone who listens. Because you've been unheard. Love demands risk, but you do not risk alone. I walk with you. I am the one who bandages you when you fall, and the one who rejoices when you dare to love again. Offer me what you think is useless, and I will make it beautiful. Offer me your past, and I will give you a future full of hope. Offer me your tender heart, and I will use it to touch the world. Because in the end, it is those who dare to love, in a world gone numb, who are the living proof that heaven has touched earth. And you are part of that. I choose you. I love you, and I will not change my mind. Dear my beloved child, even if you feel you've gone too far, even if your past is weighed down by mistakes, shame, and doubt, I speak clearly to you today. You are never too far gone to come back. There is no pit too deep for my hand to reach, no darkness too thick, for my light to pierce. No sin too heavy that my blood cannot wash clean. You are not late. You have not missed your moment. You are exactly where I can begin again, not from hopeless ruins, but from the solid foundation of my unending mercy. Each morning, when the dawn breaks, it is a reminder to you that my mercies are new not because of anything you've done to deserve them, but because I am the loving giver. I do not give out of obligation, but because it delights me to see you restored, rising again, continuing the journey. What is behind you does not define you. What I am doing within you, that is what shapes you. So rise up, open your mouth and declare life. Do not let the voices in your head speak louder than mine. Let my words become the strongest voice in your mind. You are not a victim of fear-filled or hopeless thoughts. I have given you the mind of Christ, clear, powerful, and full of love. You are not bound by confusing or despairing thoughts. You are no longer dragged by emotions or circumstances. You have the authority to choose truth, and that truth is your sword, sharp, powerful, able to cut through every chain of lies. When the enemy whispers, "You're not good enough," say, "I am the righteousness of God in Christ." When he says, "No one loves you," declare my word, "I have loved you with an everlasting love." When anxiety creeps in, proclaim that you have the peace that surpasses all understanding from me. Do not stay silent in the face of lies. Do not sit still as your soul is pulled back into the past. You have my word, the word of life. Use it, read it, believe it, speak it out loud. I have placed power in your words when they are rooted in my truth. And you do not only have my word, you have my spirit. He is not merely a companion, he is your guide, your comforter, the one who reminds you of everything I have spoken. Learn to recognize his voice, gentle yet powerful, quiet yet unwavering. In all things, my spirit is the assurance that you never face the battle alone. There will be days when your heart grows weary. There may be moments when it feels like you're sinking, lost in the sea of faces. There will be times you'll want to give up, not because you are weak, but because the battle seems long. But in those moments, remember this: I do not sleep. I do not tire. I do not turn away. Even when you have no strength left to walk, I am carrying you on my shoulders. I am not merely watching, I am moving. I sing songs of joy over you. I surround you with songs of deliverance, each note a wall that shields your soul from arrows of despair. In your darkest valley, when you can't tell where you are or where you're going, I do not retreat. I do not wait at the exit for you to find your way. I walk with you in the dark, hand in hand, my gaze never leaving you. You are not abandoned. I have promised, and that promise is eternal. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Hebrews 13:5. Nothing can separate you from my love, not height, nor depth, not the present, nor the future, not even death or life. My love transcends all. To hold you, to pull you back, to restore you from the deepest places. So, my child, do not let the enemy convince you that it's too late. Do not let your past lie to you and say that hope is gone. I am the God of new beginnings, and I am rewriting your story, not erasing it, but transforming it, not hiding your wounds, but using them to shine. My grace, you are not just forgiven, you are commissioned. Not merely healed, you are anointed. You are not alone. All of heaven stands behind you. My beloved child, There are souls waiting on the other side of your obedience, waiting for a flicker of light to break through their night. You cannot see all that is happening in the spirit realm. But I see. I know there are hearts bowed in silence, weary from the journey, just needing a spark of hope, a voice of faith, a sign that they are not alone. And you, yes, you are the one I have chosen to carry that light. When you step forward in obedience, when you rise out of your comfort zone, you are not only changing your own life, you are awakening life in others. Your yes, though trembling and small, will echo like a bell through the night, awakening a generation lulled by fear and doubt. You were not made to walk alone in a private journey, but to be part of a sacred network, a story far greater than yourself. I have woven you into that divine tapestry with purpose and grace. Your choices, your obedience, your endurance all leave a mark, not only for now, but for generations to come. You may think you're too small to make a difference, but I tell you, it is in smallness that light shines brightest, because it is unhindered by ego. And that light, yes, that very light I have placed in you, not to be hidden, but to shine for all. I did not pour my spirit into you just so you could feel warmth in a gathering or comfort in a quiet moment. I gave my spirit so he could act through you, influence and transform the world around you. Don't believe your light has to blaze like the sun to be worthy. Even a small lamp in the night is enough to help someone find the way. I declare, you are the light of the world, not by your own light, but mine, a light of love, righteousness, mercy, and truth. Shine not with arrogance, but with courage born of humility, for true light does not draw attention to itself, but always points back to the source, me. You will face difficulty that I do not hide. Obedience must pass through fire. Truth is always opposed by darkness, but do not fear. I have overcome the world. I walked the path ahead of you, misunderstood, despised, opposed, and crucified, yet nothing stopped me from fulfilling my mission. In the same way, no resistance can stop the purpose I've placed in you. As long as you remain faithful, there may be moments you feel alone. Days may come when you ask, am I doing the right thing? But it is in those very moments that your light will shine most clearly. And I will be there not as a distant observer, but as the one who fights for you. When you are misunderstood, I will testify to the truth. When you feel weak, I will lift you with my mighty arm. When you don't know what to say, I will put words on your lips. Keep your heart pure. Do not let bitterness taint it. Keep your hands open, ready to help. Forgive and lift others. And always keep your eyes on me. Never look away from the vision of life. Seek my kingdom first, not an easy path, but the only one that will never bring regret. Do not pursue glory for yourself, for the glory you strive to build will fade. But if you seek my glory, all that you need will be added at the right time, in the right way, in the right place. Offer me your longings, your plans, your secret dreams. Lay them on the altar of surrender, and you will see what I've prepared for you is greater than all you could imagine. I did not call you to blend in. I did not place you in this world to disappear into the crowd. I called you to stand out, not in the way the world honors, but in the holiness and distinction that come from my light. I called you to be salt to preserve the world from decay. I called you to be light to break the power of darkness. And to do that, you must walk the narrow path. It is not easy. but every step will carry the imprint of my grace. Courage does not mean you are never afraid. Courage means you step forward even when trembling because you know I am holding your hand. Grace is not an excuse to avoid responsibility, but the strength to fulfill your calling. You do not need to be good enough to be used. You only need to say, Lord, I am willing, and that is when the miracle begins. Remember, my child, your light does not end with you. It will shine through generations. The story you are living today will become a testimony for others tomorrow. Your yes will open doors others thought were shut. The healing in you will become a song of hope for the wounded. So do not lose heart. Do not compromise. Do not turn back. Walk forward, even if the road is narrow, even if the winds rage. For I go before you, and no one can extinguish what I have begun in you. You are the light of the world. Shine, walk, and know this: every step you take in obedience echoes in eternity. My beloved child, be still and listen closely, for what I speak to you is not a fleeting whisper in your mind, nor a passing emotional stir. This is a calling from heaven, a voice that carries not only love, but eternal power and purpose. It is the voice of your Father, the one who formed the universe by his word, the one who wove your soul before you even knew life, the one who knew you before the sun ever rose. I saw you when no one else did. I knew your name before anyone called it out, and I loved you with an unchanging love before you ever understood what love was. Not a moment passes without my eyes upon you. I have whispered to you through the gentle wind brushing your restless soul. I have stirred your heart in the quiet of the night, when everything around has fallen silent and only your spirit remains to face the emptiness. I have knocked on the door of your conscience, not with noise or haste, but with patience and deep affection. When you turned away, I still waited. When you strayed, I still watched. When you weren't sure you were worthy of love, I still stood with open arms. Do you think I call you because I need something from you? No. My child, I am the Almighty. I lack nothing. But my love does not seek satisfaction. It seeks union. I call you not to fill a space in my plan, but because my love longs to see you living fully as I have designed you to be, whole, free, strong, and radiant in my light. My love does not ebb and flow with emotion. It is a steady river, always reaching, always binding, always faithful, even when you are unaware of it. And now, my child, I want you to know that your life is not just a series of quiet days slipping by under the weight of daily burdens. You do not live in isolation. You are not a lonely soul adrift in a sea of faces. You are part of a sacred story, written by the very hand of the Creator. Your decisions, your words, your actions, even those whispered yeses in faith, they all carry impact. There are people waiting on the other side of your obedience. When you rise, others will rise. When you are healed, others will glimpse hope. When you walk in faithfulness, it opens a path for the generation behind you. I have placed my spirit within you, not as a decoration to comfort you in holy moments. No, my spirit is in you to work, to shine, to bring life to what was dead, to stir dry ground within you and within others. You are the light of the world, and light is not meant to be hidden. You do not need to shine with arrogance or display. True light flows from humble courage, from a life lived authentically, in love, in righteousness, in mercy, from a soul that knows its master and is unashamed of him. You will face trials, that is certain. The world does not easily welcome light. For light exposes darkness. You will be misunderstood, opposed, and at times feel as if you are fighting alone. But remember, I too was misunderstood, rejected, mocked, and I overcame the world. You will not walk alone. I will fight for you. I will be near when you fall, to wipe your tears and lift you up. Keep your heart pure, not by rigid standards of religion, but by grace-washed softness, by a heart that forgives and refuses bitterness. Keep your hands open to give, to help, to embrace others, and keep your eyes fixed on me, not on results, not on human recognition, but on my kingdom. For if you seek first the kingdom of heaven, everything else will be added to you in ways you could never predict. I have not called you to blend in, to drift in quiet compromise. I have called you to stand out, not for personal glory, but to be a living sign of me in a world slowly losing its way. You are salt to preserve, to heal, to bring true flavor. You are light to illuminate, to guide, to break chains in the dark. Do not fear the narrow road, for that is where I have gone before you. And on that path, you will not only find purpose, you will find me, your Father, the one who called, who loved, and who will never leave you. So, my beloved, rise, live as one who is called, shine as one who carries true light, love as one who has been loved, and go with courage, with faith, with humility, and with a whole heart. For I, the one speaking to you now, am the living one, and I am at work within you, my dearest child. How many times have I reached out in love, sending gentle signs to draw you back, only to see those invitations missed amid the whirlwinds of life? I sent dreams, not fleeting images of the night, but soft knockings on the door of your soul, awakening the purpose I placed within you from the beginning. I used stillness itself to draw you close, so that you might hear what the noisy world tries to drown out, my voice calling you. I allowed the tears to fall, not to hurt you, but to wash away the dust that had settled over your heart. I sent you unexpected moment, divine coincidences, soft brezes, songs, embraces, even pain, all whispering, I am here. Oh, but in your pursuits, amid the hurried noise and fading passions, you did not recognize me. What I planted in your heart was choked by the world's demands. My whispers, gentle yet full of power, were muffled by fear, by doubt, and by the silence you mistook for my absence. But no, my child, I was never silent. I am patient. I have never been absent. I am waiting, waiting for you to pause, waiting for you to listen, waiting for you to return. Every sunrise is living proof that my mercy is never exhausted. Every ray of sunlight slipping through your curtains is heaven's invitation, written in light, saying, you still have a chance to begin again. Every breath you take, every beat of your heart, every tear that falls from a nameless longing, all of them testify that I have never let you go. On the contrary, I am still calling, and that call is not loud, not forceful, but persistent, profound, and unceasing. It is the voice of a father who loves you more than anything. longing for you to realize you were never made to live apart from me. My child, you were not designed to manage everything alone, to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, to battle through cold loneliness and exhaustion. Your soul yearns for something beyond all achievements, relationships, and fleeting pleasures, because you were created to live with me, to walk with me, to dwell in my presence in peace. You were made not just to exist, but to live fully, not in emptiness, but in the fullness that comes from a living connection with me. I don't want you to merely know about me as some distant or powerful being upon a throne. I want you to know me as a close father, the one who never tires of seeking you, never grows weary when you fall, never turns away, even when you do things that bring you shame. I am the one who sees you more clearly than you see yourself and still chooses to love you, to wait for you. You've asked why your heart feels unsettled, why you sense something missing, despite having everything. It is because you're trying to fill a space that only I can fill. You may have succeeded, been praised, experienced things the world calls wonderful, and yet your heart remains hollow. That is the echo from the deepest part of you, the place made, not for the world, but for me. When you hurried, I remained patient. When you forgot me, I still remembered you. When you took another path, I didn't leave. I waited at the crossroads, where you would once again face yourself and me. I don't grow tired of your turning away. My love does not wear thin with time. On the contrary, I wait with the longing of a father waiting for his child to return, not to scold, but to embrace. Remember those moments when it felt like there was no way out, yet something gently pulled you up. That was me. Remember when you were about to give up, but somehow found strength to keep going. That was because I was lifting you. Those times when you sat in silence, feeling something deep touch your heart in a way no one could understand. That was me knocking on your heart. You don't need to wait until you're okay to come to me. It is in your weakest, most confused, most broken moments. That is where I most want to enter. I did not come to reproach you for the chances missed. I came to say, today, if you hear my voice, do not harden your heart. I came to remind you, where there is life, there is hope. Where my love remains, there is always a way back to who you were truly created to be. My beloved child, do not let the world pull you endlessly away from what is most precious, my presence. Do not let busyness, wounds, or fear keep you from drawing near to me. I am not seeking perfection. I am seeking a heart that is willing to return, a soul that longs for what is true, a heart ready to open and be healed. Come back to me, not in a frantic run, but simply with a glance toward me, a whisper, Lord, I need you. And in that very moment, all of heaven will respond. I will begin again, not from nothing, but from right where you are. And from that place, I will lead you into a new journey, a journey of life, restoration, and unbreakable communion. For this is what you were created to live, and I have waited so long to live it with you. My dear one, the call from heaven is not a beautiful metaphor meant to inspire for a moment, nor is it a hollow phrase spoken at solemn religious ceremonies. No, my child, it is real, alive, holy, powerful, and more sacred than anything you have ever experienced. It is the heartbeat of eternity echoing in the finite realm. It is the voice of the kingdom knocking at the door of time where you live. Breathe and walk each day. When I call, It is not to assign you a task to complete, nor to add another religious burden upon your shoulders. That call is an invitation to return not just to me, but to yourself, to your truest essence, the original image I molded from the beginning. You were made in my image, not a physical likeness, but the image of a living spirit, of truth and holiness. Every time you drift away from me, you lose a part of your true being. You no longer see clearly who you are. You become entangled in false identities, labeled by the world. You begin to live under others' expectations, by society's standards, caught in the frantic pace of a world that never rests. But my child, that is not where you belong, and that is not the version of you I designed. This world offers you thousands of voices, the voice of fame, of wealth, of security, of fleeting pleasures. They come dressed attractively, promising much, but leaving you empty, weary, and lost. Amid all the noise, there is only one voice that leads to life, mine, a voice that does not shout, does not coerce, does not flood the billboards or social media, but has the power to awaken your soul. It is the whisper in your heart, sometimes faint, sometimes clear, but always persistent, always present. Do not let religious familiarity harden your ears. Do not think that just because you've heard the gospel, memorized verses, or spoken many prayers, that you have truly responded to me. I do not seek lip service. I seek a heart truly surrendered, fully yielded, holding nothing back for the self, knowing my name has never been enough. Even the demons know my name, but what I desire is a genuine love from you, a heart that says, Lord, I am yours, completely, not because I need to control, but because I know that only in me will your heart find perfect rest. I have seen you chase after many things: success, recognition, a sense of safety, comfort. None of these are inherently wrong, but when they take my place in your heart, they become idols. And I ask you, have you reached them, yet still not felt fulfilled? Have you hit a goal only to feel empty and set another? The more you have, do you still feel it's never enough? You think it's ambition, but truly, it is a hunger for the sacred. That longing is not a punishment. It is not a flaw. It is the eternal imprint I placed in your soul. I etched my fingerprint in the deepest part of your being so that nothing of this world could ever fill you permanently. When you feel that lack, it is me drawing you back. Every moment of confusion, emptiness, and restlessness, it is not because you are weak, but because I am gently reminding you, there is a better place. There is something higher. You were not created to run yourself dry chasing the temporary. You were made to enter eternity. Every call from heaven is a step up, a stairway that leads you higher, not in fame or power, but higher than fear, higher than sin, higher than the habits that are pulling you down, even higher than the good things that still fall short of my best for you. My voice is not always thunder on Sinai's summit. Sometimes it's the trembling in worship. Sometimes it's the emptiness at the peak of success. At times, it is conviction in the hidden wrong no one else sees. Other times, it's a dream that won't fade, a familiar scene that grips your heart, a scripture that pierces, or a song that stops you in your tracks. Don't be mistaken, that is me. I am calling you home, calling you higher, calling you out, not because you are qualified, but because I have chosen you, not because you are ready, but because I know this is the sacred hour. So do not wait any longer. Don't wait until you feel holy enough, strong enough, or wise enough. Just respond. Say yes, not loudly, just honestly. Let that yes open a door, and I will do the rest. Because when you follow my voice, you don't just rediscover yourself. You find me. And in me, everything you need has already been given. My beloved, you may not realize it, but every time you turn away from life, you are taking steps away from the light that was created just for you. You are resisting the very source of hope, not because you intend to, but because you're too weary, too disappointed, too lost in what feels insurmountable. I understand. I have seen every step you've taken, every fall, every whispered, I can't go on. But I, your father, I never grow weary. I do not give up. Not when you fall, not when you grow cold, not even when you feel unworthy of love. Like a shepherd stubbornly crossing wilderness, climbing cliffs, pushing through thorns to find one lost sheep, I am walking for you. Like an old father waiting silently on the porch, eyes fixed far beyond the horizon, heart quickening with every silhouette from afar, I am waiting for you. You may not see me, but my eyes have never left you. You may not hear me through life's noise, but I am still calling. I call not because I need to be heard, but because my heart cannot be silent toward the one I love. I am not ashamed to declare my love for you. On the contrary, I am proud of you even when you have yet to understand your own worth. I have no regret in choosing you. That choice was not an accident. Nor a mistake. I chose you knowing everything your failures, your moments of turning away, the dark places you thought would consume you. Still, I chose, and I still choose today and forever. Answering my call won't always be easy. Saying yes won't always feel convenient. You may have to leave your comfort zone. You may have to release what you thought was part of your identity, old habits, old lifestyles, relationships that do not lead you toward the light. But my child, nothing you lay down for me will ever be wasted. I am the Redeemer. I am the one who turns small things into greatness. I do not let your obedience fall into silence. Every tear you shed in the surrender, I count them. Every time you choose me over ease, I remember. And I will multiply. I will restore not just fully, but abundantly. What you thought was loss, I will make reward. What I take from you is never to leave you empty, but to fill you rightly with what is lasting, higher, and eternal. You ask, what if I've gone too far? And I answer, with all the certainty of heaven, there is no place too far for me, no pit deeper than my reach, no sin greater than my mercy. No distance that can separate you from the love I have poured out for you. I am the one who walks through every darkness. I am the one who enters places you thought light could never touch. I am the one who came to the end of humanity to die for you, to live for you, and to forever call you home. I called prophets out of the caves of despair, where they hid in fear. I called kings out of hiding, where they ran from their call. I called fishermen from their boats, not to do something ordinary, but to change the world. I called tax collectors from greed to become disciples of righteousness. I called sinners from shame to be made new in my name. So, do you think that your circumstances, with all the pain, with all the chaos, with all the doubt, are beyond my reach? No. My child, My arm is not too short to save, nor my ear too dull to hear. My grace knows no bounds, and my power is not constrained by your past. What has been cannot determine what will be, because I am the one who holds your future in my hands. You are the target of a love that never withdraws, a love that is brave, persistent, and unrelenting, no matter how far you've wandered. That love is calling to you today, not to torment you over the past, but to redeem the present, to lay the foundation for the future, to invite you into the new story I have already written for you, where you are no longer defined by your failures, but renamed by love. Come home, not to punishment, but to restoration, not to a judging glare, but to arms of mercy. Come home, because it is never too late, not when I am the one waiting for you at the threshold. My beloved child, I know there are moments you want to hear me, but your heart echoes with confusion and uncertainty. Perhaps you've whispered, but I don't know how to hear your voice. And today, I answer you. Begin with silence. In a world that pushes you to do more, achieve more, run faster, I am inviting you into stillness, not to escape reality, but to meet me within it, in the sacred space that only surrender can unlock. You don't need to force a holy encounter. Just pause. Be still. Open your heart. Come to my word not as an obligation, not as a ritual you fear missing, but as a living conversation between a father and his beloved child. Tell me you want to hear. Then listen not just with your physical ears, but with your soul, your heart, your deepest longing. I do not hide from those who seek me with sincerity. On the contrary, I draw near to the humble, and I reveal myself to those who hunger for righteousness, for truth, for unfailing love. You don't need spiritual credentials or perfect understanding, just honesty. And I, as I have always declared, still declare, my sheep know my voice. Entreat, my child. I remind you that you belong to me. Your name is not forgotten in this vast universe. I don't just see you, I know you. I don't merely count the hairs on your head. I have engraved your name on the palm of my hand. You have dreams, goals, silent desires hidden even from others, but I do not despise them. Instead, I long to sanctify them. I want to shape those longings so they no longer serve the fragile kingdom of self, but become part of my eternal kingdom work. I am not against your desire for success. I place that spirit of striving within you. But true success is not measured by how many know your name, but by how deeply you know mine. The success I recognize is found in faithfulness, in the little things, in sacrifices made without applause, in love freely given without needing it returned. The world measures success by accumulation. I measure it by surrender. You may gain the whole world wealth, fame, position, but if you lose your soul, you've lost what matters most. But if you respond to my call, even with a trembling, yes, you will have me. And in me, you will have everything you need. I do not promise ease, nor a life without sorrow. But I promise this, I will be with you. In every battle, I will be your strength. In the dark of night, I will be the light ahead. When you are weary, I will lift you up. I do not promise you will never face storms, but I promise you will not be overwhelmed. And if you remain faithful, if you continue to walk in faith, each trial will only draw you closer to my heart and deeper into true strength. You may be afraid. You may feel you are not enough. But let me remind you, you don't have to be enough, because I am. What I ask of you is not perfection, but a heart willing to say, yes. And I promise by my own name you will never regret that yes. I have never missed a whisper from your lips, and I have never forgotten a single promise I made to you. Everything I have planned for you still awaits, waiting for you to step in. I withhold no good thing from those who fear me and walk in truth. You need only come not as a perfect warrior, but as a sincere child, and I will take care of the rest. For I am the one who called you, and if I have called you, I am faithful to lead you all the way until the day you see that every small yes you ever spoke has become a song of glory echoing through heaven. And I, your God, will sing along with that song with a love that never fades. My beloved, I know you may be carrying pain. There are days when your weariness cannot be spoken, yet you rise and try again. I see you wrestle not only with external challenges but with silent battles within. I know the moments you feel lost, when careless words cut deep, when you are misunderstood by those you love. But through it all, I want you to know, you are not alone. You are walking a sacred journey not led by fleeting feelings, but by my eternal truth and love. I do not promise a life without tears, but I give you peace beyond understanding, a peace not from this world and not subject to it. It is not a fleeting feeling. Buddha deep, unshakable rest a soul at peace, knowing it belongs to the one who never changes. What I long to give you, child, cannot be bought with money. It is not the result of striving, status, or popularity. It cannot be replicated through ritual or moral performance. It is a gift of grace, freely given, but only to those who respond to heaven's invitation. You may think survival is enough, but I did not create you merely to get through the day. I called you to abundant life, a life where each morning you rise. You are assured that you are loved by the one who made the universe and sent out with a purpose far greater than yourself, a life not swept away by anxiety, not shadowed by fear, but filled with faith, a living faith that stands firm even when the world shakes, a life not shaped by others' opinions, but anchored in the unshakable identity. You are a child of the living God. I want you to walk in true freedom, not the shallow, indulgent, empty freedom the world offers, but a deep freedom from within, born of knowing you are forgiven, accepted, redeemed, and no longer under the weight of sin or the past. Freedom from shame, the voices that replay your failures. Freedom from your past, the things that once held you back, made you think you couldn't change. Freedom from comparison, from playing a role you were never meant to play. Freedom from burdens you were never designed to carry. That is your inheritance, but you must choose it. Freedom doesn't just happen. It begins with obedience, with a decision sometimes small, sometimes quiet, but enough to open the door for me to move. But be watchful, my child, because every time you delay obedience, you step a little farther from my sacred call. Every time you say, later, your heart grows a little more resistant. Don't let delay become refusal. Don't let repeated dismissal of my voice numb you to it altogether. I'm not waiting for you to be perfect before you draw near. I'm calling you now, not when you feel ready, but even as you tremble, because in that vulnerability, I will do my strongest work. You don't need another moment. You don't need to wait for a more convenient life. a lighter schedule, a calmer soul. This is the moment I've given you. This is holy ground. This is a sacred appointment. You are standing at a threshold not of opportunity, but of transformation, a door not opened by human strength, but by surrender. If you step through, you will begin a journey unlike anything you've ever known. You will no longer live in cycles of anxiety and despair, but in the rhythm of grace. You will be led not by circumstance, but by the Spirit. You will be sent not to chase greatness, but to live true to your name, loved, chosen, and commissioned. Look around you. How many are living in emptiness, waiting for someone to dare live differently and testify to truth? How many long to see a life lived in freedom and truth? Your life can be that witness. You can reflect an unconditional love, a fearless faith, a life unbound by the world. I am calling you not just to step out of darkness, but into a life that is full, rich, and eternal. Everything has been waiting. Heaven is watching, and I am here, arms wide open. Beloved child, do not let the harsh clamor of the world, the constant cries of duty, ambition, worry, and trivial matters drown out the gentle whisper echoing deep within your soul. Come. This is not a vague invitation or a suggestion that can be dismissed without consequence. It is the call of life itself, the awakening of the soul, the sound of eternity knocking on the door of your heart. I am calling not with noise, not with force, but with patient love, and I invite you, not because I need another follower, but because I long to share with you a portion of my very life. Do not be deceived into thinking that tomorrow will automatically bring more chances. Life is but a vapor, here for a moment and then gone. But what belongs to me, the very thing I am calling you into today, is eternal. It does not fade with time. It does not wear down with age. And it cannot be destroyed by anything of this world. Today is the day of salvation. Today is the hour to respond, not when you feel more ready, more holy, or strong enough. I do not seek the qualified, I choose the weak to reveal my glory. Your unworthiness does not deter me. On the contrary, it is in the recognition of your insufficiency that the door of grace swings wide open. Your weakness is not a hindrance. It is the platform from which my power is displayed. I do not need you to understand everything. I am not asking you to have answers for all things. I only desire an honest response, a yes, no matter how small, as long as it is sincere. In that yes, my Spirit will do the rest. He will be with you to teach, to uphold, to comfort, and to guide you step by step in my eternal plan. You will not be alone, never left behind on a path you do not fully understand. I am the one who calls, and I am also the one who walks with you, who acts, and who completes what I begin. You are standing at a threshold, not merely between right and wrong, but between the temporary and the eternal, between what you can control and what you must trust, between the safety the world promises and the true life that I offer. And my calling to you is not a demand to strive in the way the world measures success. I am not calling you to more in terms of material gain, productivity, or performance. I am inviting you into a deeper spiritual abundance, a life not swept away by surface currents, but rooted deeply in my heart. I am calling you to more surrender, not to rob you of freedom, but to lead you into true freedom. Freedom from the pressure to control everything, from the fear of not being enough. I am calling you to more presence, so that you do not live in a rush dictated by schedules, but learn to sit at my feet, to be heard, to be loved, to be healed. I am calling you to more stillness, where the noise of the world no longer reigns, and you can finally hear the sound of my heart, not the voice of command, but the voice of love. Are you willing? Will you let go of what is fleeting to take hold of what is eternal? Will you lay down the fragments, the things you cling to simply because they are familiar, and take your seat at the table I have prepared for you? I am not inviting you to shallow offerings. I am inviting you to soul-deep abundance. I do not offer you a menu of fear or obligation. Before you is a feast of grace, of life, of promise, and the seat has your name on it. You are not a statistic. You are not a face lost in the crowd. You are seen. You are known. You are chosen, not by chance, but by divine intention. When I call you by your true name, the name only you and I know, the name etched upon my heart before the universe was formed. When I call you, it is not to simply add one more to the ranks, but to awaken in you a divine purpose written long before the dawn of creation. That purpose is not vague. It is not dependent on your current ability. It is a design drawn by the very hand of the Creator, a design to give you a future and a hope, Jeremiah 29:11. A future not confined by present circumstances, a hope not extinguished by past failures. All of it still stands waiting for you to step forward. So step forward. My child, do not wait any longer. Do not tell yourself you need more time to prepare. You do not need to know the whole path. You only need to trust me, the one who not only charts the course, but who holds your hand every step of the way. Trust me, for when you respond, it is not only your life that will be transformed, but the world around you will begin to change. That small yes will shake the eternal realms, and I, the one who called you, will bring it all to completion. For I am faithful, and you are mine. Now, beloved child, with a sincere heart and a quiet spirit, offer me your prayer not just with lips, but with a heart that beats in rhythm with my eternal call. Almighty God, Creator of my being, and the one who calls me by my true name. Today I come near, not with hands full of accomplishments, but with a broken soul in need of healing. Please remove from me every noise that blurs the sound of your gentle call. I no longer wish to drift in what is temporary. Give me ears to hear, and a heart willing to respond. Teach me surrender, not out of obligation, but because I have come to know love, omniscient one, who knows me more than I know myself. I have often believed I am not enough, not worthy to be chosen, but you do not call the qualified, you make those. You call sufficient. Turn my weakness into the place where your power is glorified. Make of me an instrument not perfect, but yielded. You call, and I respond. Here I am. Lord, Endo, giver of life, who draws me into deeper places. Teach me to cherish presence more than achievement. Help me value stillness above noise. Bring me into the secret place where I may draw near to you and recognize your voice apart from the clamor of the world. Most High God, who does not grow weary of my resistance, I thank you for never abandoning me in my confusion or when I turned away. Thank you for your tireless patience, for your unconditional love, for the call that never ceases. Even when I ignored it, your love is the fire that has rekindled my heart. God of grace, I thank you that you do not require me to be qualified before you love me. You love me in my weakness, and in that very weakness, you display your glory. Thank you for the Holy Spirit, who is not only with me, but within me, teaching, comforting, and leading me into truth. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong community of faith